What's going on, guys? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good afternoon to you, my beautiful humans that are joining us on today's podcast. Let us know if you are coming in live. I'm gonna see. We're gonna start this episode in 2 minutes. All right, guys. So I was not going to do this podcast this morning, but Teza Holden, one of our beautiful clients, and you better be the first one in here, Tez, said, mate, what am I going to do on a Monday without my podcast? So I quickly put one together, and it's actually a pretty good episode, I think. So hello, Tez. So if there's, obviously there's a bunch of shit in the background, guys, so I apologize about that. We're in the middle of filming a bunch of new workshops, which are going to be re-recorded versions of the live workshops that we've done that will sit nicely as part of our new guide section. And it's going to be really kind of drilling down on the base things that we need to know inside this academy to get results. So guys, if you are coming into this one, I did say that I wouldn't be doing this morning, but I changed my mind at last minute, and Tez called me out and said, I need my podcast, so get to work. So I'm here, Tez. I'm turning up for you, brother. So let us know in the comments, guys, if you're coming in to watch this one live. We got Terry, the main man, here. I'm guessing you're probably done your gym session by now, Tez. We've got Jen Lovegrove, the leg press goddess. How are you, Jen? Good to see you in here, mate. We got Amy Fleming. Amy, I want to say that you have been so consistent over the course of the last week. I'm so proud of you, girl. So well done on taking it up a notch. Wendy Beats, what's going on, mate? Hopefully the sun's shining for you in the UK like it is here in Canada. Finally, we wait all year for this. We got Jamie Lennon, JL, off the drink. Well done, girl. How many days was it so far? 100 days, I think you said, Jamie. Is that correct? That is a colossal effort. So you should be super proud of yourself, Jamie. You're a bit similar to Amy Fleming. The last kind of couple of weeks, I think you've really stepped things up a notch. So well done, James. We're going to start this episode in 30-40 seconds, guys, as we let a couple of guys and girls come in. Hello, Vince. How are you, mate? Good to see you here. Happy Sunday, Vince. I hope you're having a beautiful morning so far. Mark Hunter, the same. Off the drinks. Good to see you, Marky. You're making tremendous progress, bro. Super proud of you, brother. Super proud. I know how hard it is to change these kind of old habits, mate. So I think old habits die hard, and you're certainly banishing those old habits slowly but surely. Thanks, pet. So weird calling me pet. Anyway, I do like it. So I think we are ready to rock and roll. What do you reckon, guys? Should we set fire to this Monday/Sunday afternoon? Diet Coke, by the way. Only telling you guys what I do. All right, let's go. Good morning, Matty Harvey, my dog. How are you, mate? Guys, mastermind time as well this week. Super pumped. So let's get started in today's episode of the podcast. Good morning, Dan Peterson, you little legend. All right, guys, let's go. On the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs, and when you need a Monday morning/Sunday afternoon pump up. And I'll tell you what, I'm pretty pumped. We're in the midst of filming some new workshops for our Better Body Academy members. To make it clear, my goal is to kind of drop the bar that you need to know to be successful. And so we're refilming some workshops to replace the current guides. That way, if you feel that you're so time strapped that you can't consume all of the extensive guides that we've got, we're going to try to give them to you in around 8 really important guides. I don't know why I did that. I meant to do that. 8 really important guides, and make sure that you've got the need to know stuff. So, guys, I want to shout out to New South Wales, to all of our non-Australian people. You won't care, but to New South Wales on a tremendous victory last night. Queenslanders got one word for you. So I do apologise for the crudeness, but we won. And we're going to a decider. How good. All right, guys. So today I want to talk a little bit about what kids can teach us about fat loss. Now, this is more of an ad-lib podcast, not that prepared. So if it's scratchy, you guys are to blame. Terry, I'll take you. So I posted through the week about Cordia and her change. So Cordia is my delightful partner, who is such a good mum. And obviously, second time round in pregnancy, you learn some things from the first time rather. And this certainly, the second time I found she sent me a before and after photo. If you guys go to my profile, you can check it out. And it's like at 36 weeks pregnant, the difference between her this snapshot and last pregnancy is unbelievable. And we had a discussion around, what do you think it was that kind of made all of the difference? And she said without hesitation, she said just straight up two things, Jace. Number one is that I've built a bigger engine. So when I met Cords, she was a cardio queen. She's run like 3 marathons and, she's really good at running. And so that was her predisposition. This time round, she's really built a bigger engine. And building a bigger engine comes only by doing resistance training. And so this is one of the main things that we preach inside of Better Body Academy is that you need to be doing some resistance training if you want to solve, weight management challenges for the long term. You have to be lifting weights of some kind. And I could go into all the details, but just take my word for it. You need to be lifting weights, okay? And the number two thing she said is that she's become more aware in this pregnancy around, what you need to do, particularly around food. And I think that, everyone sort of makes the joke, and I guess it's tongue in cheek a little bit around, oh, you're eating for 2 now on your pregnancy, but she probably reckons she took it a little bit more literal, actually thought that she needed to eat twice the amount. And obviously she put on quite a large amount of weight during her last pregnancy. She got it off okay and she was lucky, but it was a kind of a grind for her to get back in shape, and she did it. And so this time round, she's learned that you don't need double the amount of calories, and that the main thing that's going to determine how you exit the pregnancy is how you enter the pregnancy. And I think this is a mistake. I'm not a woman, but I do think this is a mistake that a lot of women make. They wait until after the pregnancy to try to get themselves back in shape, when actually the best way to get in shape after the pregnancy is make sure that you enter in the best shape possible. So this got me thinking a little bit more, and we had another chat this morning around what kind of kids and childbearing can teach us around fat loss and around being healthy. And it just got me like, my brain never stops ticking. Are you guys like me? Like, once you've kind of wanted to start growing, you see things. There's something called your reticular activating system. And it's in your brain, and the reticular activating system is the part of your brain that when you decide to buy a new white Range Rover, lucky you, that all of a sudden you start to become realizing of how many white Range Rovers there are on the road, because you've now tuned into that frequency, right? And so the reticular activating system it works almost like a filter, right? And so what it basically does is it keeps your ears and eyes open to the things that you need to become aware of because your brain or you have decided that they're important. And for me, health is important. And my reticular activating system, my filter, is constantly aware of how I can link things that I see in the real world to you as our clients and help you understand why this is relevant to you and your journey. And in this case, for this podcast, guys, I've got 4 insights that have come from both personal and obviously watching Cordia and Mother. And I think that they're kind of good analogies for us and our journey. And if we can understand the analogy, then we can also go, okay, so yes, that makes sense to me. And now the penny sort of drops and I understand why this is important. So let's go. Insight number 1 is that riding uphill is so much harder when you're carrying a lot of weight. Riding uphill is so much harder when you're carrying a lot of weight. In fact, everything is so much harder when you're carrying a lot of weight. I remember, so over the last month or two, Cords and I have got in the habit of waking up every Saturday and Sunday morning and taking a ride to a local cafe. So because Cords can't ride at the moment, I ride, and then she meets us down there in the car. And so I've got Ocean stuck on my handlebars in a capsule thing, and she absolutely loves it, this girl. And this morning as I was just like riding, there is this hill that's probably, let's say, like 7 to 10 degrees. It's not a big hill. This is not a big hill. But when you're riding up that hill, and and so Ocean is around 24 to 25 pounds now, and you've got her on the handlebars. And I can remember back to when Cords and I used to just ride up that hill by ourselves. It's a long, kind of very light steepness hill. And I can remember when we used to do it by ourselves, and it was easy. There was no extra weight to carry. It was easy. Now, with this 12 kilo, 25 pound weight on the front, holy shit, how much harder is it? Like, I've got to strategically make sure I'm wearing the right shorts so I don't cut the circulation off in my thighs, because it's so hard that I don't want to put any more resistance by wearing tight shorts. Like, that's the level I'm thinking about it. And I think that in transformation programs, you know, like The Biggest Loser, people love this idea of like people's diet crashing and, oh my God, they lost 50 kilos or lost 100 kilos, and people froth on that. But in the process, what that takes away from is how life-changing losing 5 to 10 kilos is. Now, I'm experiencing putting Ocean on my handlebars and taking on 10 to 12 kilos inside our men's academy, and we don't count for the women. Inside our men's academy, we have had 160, Marthy become the 116th man, 115th man over the weekend that has lost 10 kilos or more. And so our program, we know if you need to lose 10 kilos and you follow the plan, you'll lose 10 kilos in between 4 and 6 months. Absolutely. But like, I think people understate how life-changing that actually is. When you are riding up a hill, everything seems so much freaking harder. Even the hill is only this much. And our perception of everything changes. So my willingness to want to do the ride in the morning, and I'll talk about that in a moment, is less because I know it's harder. So I think that although we can't control the process of fat loss, what we can control is the habits that we build around our lifestyle. And so if we are able to, don't worry about the 30 or 40 kilos that you need to lose. And there's a couple of people watching this that have got upwards of 30 or 40 kilos you need to lose. Worry about the difference that 5 or 10 kilos would mean in your energy levels, in the stress that your body is under. And if we can worry about the first 5 kilos or the first 10 kilos, well, then guess what? You get on a roll from there. All of a sudden, once you've lost the first 5 or 10 kilograms, which is why you should be following the Fat Loss Kickstarter meal plan, the goal of that is to get the first 4 to 5 kilos off you. If you follow that for the first month, well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel confident because you had some early wins, and you're going to take those early wins into the next sort of 2 to 3 to 4 months. But I think that a program should be set up to give you some early wins. And so to those of you that are fairly new inside the academy, rather than focusing on the big mountain that you need to cross, instead focus on the first 5 kilograms and the world of difference that this will make when you're going up the hill of life and you're trying to climb and see what your next level is going to be a huge difference. So let's get on to insight number 2. It's this idea of saying yes to hard things. So I'm a creature of habit. Like, I'm a proper creature of habit. I love eating the same things every day. I don't like surprises. And to be honest, I have a predisposition to saying no to things that are not routine. And people might say, well, that's a bit weird because, like, shouldn't you be embracing of growth and all that sort of stuff? I'm just telling you that that's how I am. I don't like new things, generally speaking. So when someone says, oh, I don't like to get outside of my comfort zone, I totally understand where you're coming from, because to be honest, I have to force myself out of my comfort zone in the same situation as you. And so this can help, but can also be a hindrance. And what I've noticed Cordia doing, my partner doing, is she speaks to me through the baby, right? Through Ocean. Do any of you guys get that? Like your wife or your partner speaks to you through your baby or your kids? I'll give you an example. She says, you know, daddy wants to take you to the playground, Ocean. Or she says, you know, daddy wants to take you swimming, Ocean. Or daddy wants to ride you to the cafe, Ocean, like she did this morning. And my reactive answer is always like, my first answer is, no, I'm tired. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. And I'm coming at that from the perspective of whatever she is trying to get me to do is hard. And my instant reaction is, I don't want to do hard. Because I'm just like you. I'm conditioned to want to do the things that are easy or that I like. I don't like riding up hills to go to a cafe when I can drive and be there in 10% of the time. And so my reactive answer is always no, but then my awareness kicks in and says, hang on, no is what a normal 40-year-old dad would say. That's what a normal 40-year-old dad would say. If you want abnormal results and you don't want dad bod, then you have to do what abnormal people do, not what normal people do. Does this make sense, guys? And then because I have that light of awareness come in, my initial resistance is no, but then my awareness kicks in and I say, hang on, yes, wait, I will do that actually. And so it turns out that I get on the bloody bike with Ocean on the front and I pedal up that fucking hill and go. So a good question to ask yourself is, what difficult things are you saying no to because they are the initial resistance? Going into this Monday, what things can you tackle today that you don't want to do because they're hard? But if you do them, then you will be the equivalent of the 40-year-old dad that says yes instead of saying no. For example, you don't want to get up and get out of bed because it's cold. No. Press snooze on your alarm. Wait a second. 2 minutes later, you catch yourself, your awareness kicks in and you go, yes, because I'm not normal. Or your partner tells you, hey, can you go to the dump and dump all that stuff? And you go, fuck, I don't want to do that. This happened to me again the other day. I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. Okay. If you want a relationship that is built on trust and helping each other out, then you don't say no to the things that you don't want to do. You help your partner out and do the things that she wants you to do. You see the difference? I think a lot of us take the first reaction, which is no, and that reaction, Jakey says, go to work. No one wants to go to work. So why do we go to work? Well, because there's consequences, right? If we don't go to work, we don't get paid, or we lose a client, or we lose our job. What are the consequences of you not getting out of bed and going to your training session? Or what are the consequences of you sleeping in? Well, often there's no direct punishment, but the punishment comes in a long, insipid wasting away of your life. Insight 2 is that if you want results that normal people don't get, then you have to be willing to do things or say yes to things that normal people don't say yes to. Insight 3, the end of pregnancy, which Cordia is now in, she's due on the July the 22nd, is an insight into how difficult things are when you're overweight. These are just random insights that I'm pulling out here. So watching Cordia at the moment, and man, she's a trooper, eh? She's a trooper. So, but to any lady, I would ask you that's ever been pregnant, do you want to stay pregnant forever? Or by the time you get to week, 38, 39, 40, whatever, you're just like, get this thing out of me. The bloating, the swollen feet, the kind of the waddle walk, the joint pains, the tiredness, the endless cravings, the potential for gestational diabetes or other forms of high blood pressure, all the things that come with the end stages of being pregnant after the 32-week mark, the last trimester. Those things that I just rattled off then, they sound exactly like the symptoms of when you become overweight, right? Swollen feet, bloating, the waddle, back pain, joint pain in the knees and the hips, tiredness, the endless cravings, gestational diabetes, but not gestational, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure. These are things that happen, exactly the same things that happen when you're overweight. And yet no woman ever gave birth and then said, put the baby back in. I want to feel that again. It's just like, it's such a relief to not be carrying that weight. Overall, Cordy has put on about 12 to 15 pounds, she tells me. And I guess about 6 of it's the baby weight and the rest of it's fluid and blood and all the stuff. But how much more difficult is it at just, 12 to 15 pounds, to any of you ladies who've been overweight, how much more difficult is it tying your shoes, sitting on the sofa, staying awake, sleeping, picking up the other baby out of bed, making love? How much more fucking awkward is that? So the end of pregnancy is very much an insight. The feeling that you get when you go from crazy end-term pregnancy to no longer being pregnant again. Imagine you had that same feeling of losing, 10 to 15 pounds, and what that impact would be on the quality of your life. I just want you to sit that on a moment. Like Jamie says, I couldn't tie my shoes with my bump. 23 kilos I put into my pregnancy. Crazy, right? That's like, why do we tolerate it for pregnancy? Because we have to. But then when it comes to actually understanding how impactful 5 to 10 kilos is in our life, my gosh. Okay, I'm going to finish this up. Insight 4. Start early and maintain consistency when you're trying to train anything. Start early and maintain consistency when you're trying to train anything. So at the moment, we're trying to train Ocean to go to the toilet. So we've got her a little potty, and she's not yet 2 yet, but on 50% of occasions, she can tell us when she's going to go for a poo before the poo actually happens in her diaper. Pretty good, hey? And so I've got to the point where I think I say a lot of times, like we've been very, very lucky with Ocean. And because we've only got one baby at the moment, I actually don't know if it's luck or if that is some level of good training. I literally don't know. Ask me the question in a year after we've had another kid, and I'll tell you how we've done. But being consistent in our message, she's learned the rules. And to be honest, it's mostly Cordia telling me what to do and then us staying consistent regardless of the circumstances, which made me think, why don't we have the same level of consistency in our own lives towards our own goals and desires? When it's hard, why do we give up so quick? Like, I wouldn't say to Ocean, if she shit her diaper, I wouldn't say, you're a failure. Like, what's wrong with you? We might as well just give up. Like, this toilet training's dumb. Like, I wouldn't do that, and neither would you. If you're trying to teach your son or daughter how to bike, you wouldn't crucify them for falling off their bike. Why do you do it to yourself? When you fall off and have a crap day of nutrition, you miss a gym session that you said you were going to do, you don't hit your 10,000 steps, whatever it is for you, why do you crucify yourself? Like, it's got to be consistency over intensity. It's got to be consistency over intensity. You're going to get things wrong. In your journey, you're going to get things wrong. But you're a human. You're meant to make mistakes. So why do you hang yourself every time you fall off the bloody cart? That's normal. So I think this process of becoming more self-aware is imperative to our own fitness journey. I guess being able to become the watcher of our thoughts. Remember that term for you guys that have just started in the mastermind. Become the watcher. What I mean by become the watcher is, rather than being like nose up against your life, when you develop the ability to almost pull yourself out of your life and look at yourself in third person, and you get the ability to assess why you do the things that you do, and you get curious about that. Why do I get drunk every weekend? Like, why do I do that? Or why do I make that same excuse all the time? Or why do I eat that thing? You become the watcher because you've gone from being in your life first person to out of your life third person. And this for me is imperative in my own transformation, is being able to take myself out of the situation and remain emotionless, not reactive to the situation, and just look and observe why I do the things that I do. And when you can do that, when you're better able to self-observe, you are better able to be in the position to self-correct. Does this make sense? So, quite a random podcast this morning, guys. Tez, I hope that was okay for you, my man. Guys, this has been the Better Body Academy podcast, the podcast that you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. This one was a little bit from left field, some observations about the similarities between raising children and fat loss. I'll be back with you this week with another episode of the podcast and look forward to seeing you then.